live, and once I can hit the record button.
We're not doing a Christ talk today, are we?
Yes, we are.
Oh, we are?
Okay, guys.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to... Hold on. Welcome to another episode of Jazz Mental Health Awareness. And I am here with Jennifer, John, and Kurt. And encourage everybody to subscribe and go to our social media pages or wherever you found us. So let's get to the show. I'm gonna pass it over to you, Jennifer.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to share and repost this wherever you found it. Today, we're going to get started with mental health awareness. You know, John, it's funny that we were just talking about what we went through this week with mental awareness. You getting sick and me talking about the hardship I was going through because of somebody in my family having bipolar and not being on medication. So do you have anything to say to that or to add to that? Because we were kind of getting on a good conversation there about mental health with this past week being out of work and our routine, sick and stuff.
Yeah, I guess when we're knocked off of our routine, and people like me and maybe you need a routine every day.
We do.
Helps us to get out of bed, helps us to get the blood flowing, thinking correctly.
And being productive with life instead of just sitting to mourn and focus on whatever's our struggle because of depression that gets us focused on, oh, this is a negative thing, and we just go spiraling down because we can't get our mind off of it.
Right. And the other thing is I've been sick for so long, for probably 10, 12 days. I haven't been swimming. So that's really, and today will probably be the first time I go back to swim in that long period of time, almost 2 weeks. And I really need it. I need to get back.
We have so much in common because mine was that way. Because when did I go back to Wednesday? I go to water aerobics, and that would be my first workout in almost a week too. It'd be just 13 days, barely under a week. Barely under 2 weeks. But mine is because of going to my dad's, and then the my different doctor's appointments, EEG, and all that I probably told you about. But you know how you say our lives are so similar, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. I get in there. I have an indoor pool in the complex that I live in here, and there's hardly anybody over there. So I go in and I swim laps, try to get in like a 30, 40-minute routine, and then take a shower and then walk home about a block away. But there's days that I gotta talk myself. I literally have to talk myself into going. And it's very convenient, but I used to go to LA Fitness, and it seemed like it was easier for me to talk myself into going to that and then getting in my car, driving down there, doing my routine, and then come home. But this is a lot more convenient, but it seems like it's almost more of a battle. And I got to make sure. My wife always says that.
Doesn't that tell you it's probably the social environment when you're at somewhere like LA Fitness or where I go, it's Lifetime and so forth. That's because there you're around other people that have that common interest. And often you become friends with those other people that are fans of that same activity, or that use the same gym but do a different activity that y'all somehow cross paths with, right? So that's
Yes
probably the
and no.
social interaction. That's why it was better
When
for
it
you,
comes-
why you're more motivated.
When you swim, there's not as many people doing it. Probably about 1/10 of them. So you don't run into a lot of people that you have conversations with. And then when you get into the water, you can't have a conversation with anybody. You're just underwater, right?
Well, unless you do
so-
water aerobics and some other things that come with having a gym membership versus only swimming.
Right.
Because you can also have a swimming mate where y'all each take two different lanes, and let's say you raced each other, or you just agreed to go opposite directions and just to kind of be a team effort to motivate one another, kind of like we do on diets and stuff, right?
Right. And that can help. But over here at the indoor pool, there's nobody here. I very rarely run into anybody, so I got the whole pool to myself for an hour. And so then I come home and then I talk my wife to death. So, it's I live probably a more solitary life than a lot of people, because what I do, my graphic arts and my web design, is very solitary. It's just me, and I'm not really collaborating with somebody like you would do with some businesses, so that's why this group right here, and working with you guys, is so big for me, because I can collaborate and talk about different things that I need to do or working on,
Or even
it's
just
almost
or even just to have a friendship conversation, like how you and I can sometimes get into just one-to-one kind of conversations where we cross paths so much and it not even necessarily be work related.
right. Well, what would happen about 2 weeks ago between you and I? Something happened to you. Your blood sugar got really low and you had to go see a doctor. And it was really funny.
I ended up in the ER.
I didn't go to the ER, but I was going through the same thing at the same exact time as you were. My blood sugar was really low. Now I got my wife, she's buying me cans of orange juice, and I bring orange juice and then I sip on that. I try not to drink too much of it because it's got a high sugar content. But when I start going through that period where I start shaking and I start losing my train of thought and all, the different things that start to happen to you, like what happened to you. What were some of the symptoms that said that you were having a problem?
I felt like I was about to pass out. I did have one point where I actually blacked out, and I actually saw an image like I was at my dad's house, but that was 2 weeks ago when I was still hearing in the Houston area. And then I lost my appetite. I wasn't thirsty anymore, but you know how I usually am, like sipping on something almost all the time, and I just suddenly wasn't thirsty at all. So my body shut down to the whole idea of consuming anything. And what Dr. Stig said it was that at my workout I go to on Thursday mornings, it's a low intensity workout, but we had a substitute fill in for the trainer that usually leads our class at the gym, and she gave us a high intensity workout. So all of us were just beyond our normal workout as far as intensity. And so it really shocked my system. That's what the doctor said. Because the following Tuesday, when I had a similar episode, it was also after a high intensity workout trainer filled in for our low intensity class because our trainer had lost her voice. So that's what they said to call mine. It shocked my system, and so it also used up a lot more blood sugar. You know how activity reduces blood sugar? So it shocked my system that reacted in that way.
So what can you do to circumvent that? Can
Well,
you drink
basically,
like some water?
so yeah, I decided I'm going to keep some allergen-free cookies on me at all times, and Pop-Tarts, because those are some stuff that's high in sugar.
Right.
And there are also things that usually don't go bad very quick, like something like cheese would, you know. So it's easier to just keep it on you, and it lasts longer before you have to replace it.
Or maybe
Right.
like orange juice or something along those lines too.
Well, but orange juice isn't necessarily something you can keep on you. Like when I go to Panera Bread and Starbucks and go see my doctors, go to the gym, all this stuff, I can't keep that kind of thing on me
Oh,
because that's
okay.
to be refrigerated.
Oh,
That's why
okay.
I'm not choosing those.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the orange juice because it acts real quickly. If you're having one of those episodes, the orange juice just goes right in there, and within a couple minutes, I'm a lot better.
Oh, but you just reminded me saying that. I have glucose tablets. I should probably keep one of those in my purse.
Yeah. Where do you get those at?
Back when I knew I had hypoglycemia, I used to get them at HEB or Walmart, which HEB is only in Texas. But you could check your grocery store and maybe Walmart or Kroger or whatever, but in the pharmacy area. I know Walmart's where I got it.
Okay. I'll look for them.
You may even find them at. You may even find them at places like CVS and Walgreens and others that are chains that are, drugstores.
Okay. Do they seem to work pretty quickly?
I feel better within the first 5 minutes after chewing two of them. But sometimes it drops bad enough I have to have a third, but I wait 10 minutes before deciding if I need a third or fourth. But they are quicker to react because my body doesn't have to digest them like they do the cookies and other stuff.
It's a good idea. I haven't really checked my glucose in a long time, but I know that's what I'm suffering from. When I got this disabled, my body went through a lot of changes. And then when I had a sleeve where they cut out part of my stomach to help me lose weight, that my body went through a lot of changes also then too. So
did you see any mental health reactions to these changes?
Yeah,
like
but
any emotions?
I wasn't aware of it, and I'm just really getting a handle on it now. I'm starting to really ascertain, and by connecting with you and talking with you, I'm actually able to sift through what am I feeling, what am I thinking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And now as I go through and I think about the glucose and my anger issues from the past, I'm wondering now if a lot of my low blood sugar was fueling my anger issues. Now that I'm on top of this.
Well, I know mine. When I had it both of those days, I was like what the doctor said, in a fight mode, very defensive, on guard. But I told him, I said, I felt fearful. I was going to pass out before I could get help. And so he gave me an anxiety medicine to calm it. And he considered it more of a panic attack the emotional
Okay.
response to my blood sugar dropping.
Isn't that interesting? So now I'm wondering if I've been suffering from this for a long time, because there were times 99% of the time I'm totally fine. And my depression doesn't seem to be so bad, and I don't feel like I want to have an anger issue or fight against somebody. But every once in a while, it just goes over the edge. And now I'm wondering if my glucose had really dropped and caused me to be a real different person.
Yeah, it does.
You know
It
what?
does have an impact on your mood, of course. But different people react in different ways.
Yeah, they sure do. So now I'm trying to stay on top of it, and when I start feeling some of these symptoms, I am taking something or eating something or drinking something that will help alleviate that. And I haven't had one of these issues for a while now.
So based off what you're saying, are you saying that basically being here on our podcast to hear what I share and what you share has been a help to you? So would you encourage more listeners to tune in and to apply what we talk about to their life to see how they can improve in their mental health struggles?
Oh, definitely. Just giving me a chance to talk about it, but then listening to you, who has a similar situation, has got me really thinking about different aspects. And maybe as we go along, we can get other people with other kind of mental disabilities that want to talk about, and then we can see how we connect to that and see where we're at, and how we can help each other. Isn't that the point of
Definitely.
all of this? How we can help each other?
It is. I love leading, especially when it involves making other people's lives better in some way.
Right.
And
And I can
speaking of
definitely say,
and you can what?
I can definitely say that being on here and talking has really helped me a lot. And then after I get off the program, I start thinking about how did I react to this today? What is this telling me? What changes do I have to make in my life
So it's
to
therapeutic.
deal with it? Yeah, it's very therapeutic. So, what other
So
areas
maybe we could encourage other people to let's see. Oh wait, no. I guess I'm in a different account. Okay, let me. Oh, here's my banners.
we with mental health, a lot of people do not know they suffer from it, and if they do suffer from it, specific area, a lot of times they don't want to admit that, because then they think there's something really wrong with them. And the truth of the matter is, there's nothing that's really out of the ordinary, especially in America. How many people are taking something for depression?
I am.
I think it's like 65% of Americans take something for depression. That's outrageous. That's amazing how high that is.
And when you were talking just now about maybe other people could join us, I got the idea. So now if you see on the bottom of the screen, I put join us live. And that means if you, as a listener or viewer or someone you want to share this with, would like to be on our JAWS mental health awareness and talk about your struggle, or maybe even have a therapeutic impact on you like it did John Tarr, then please get on our schedule for our podcast. So you can join as well at calendly.com/Jaws Coffee Chat. That's www.calendly.com/JAWS Coffee Chat.
Yep.
And that's how you get on our calendar to pick which Monday you want to be on our 2:00 Central Time podcast that's called Jaws Mental Health Awareness. You can join us regularly or occasionally, depending upon what works with your schedule.
Good idea.
Yes, and we're going to leave on the bottom of the screen for those of you on YouTube or social media that see us. We're going to leave on the bottom of the screen where you can see it. And then, what else did you have to say, John?
Well, sometimes we suffer from a couple disabilities in our life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they can play in a hard way. With me, I have I'm disabled on one of my hips. I had a hip that became infected after a replacement surgery, and I went through like 10 different operations trying to fight the infection, and
wow.
it became so bad that they had to. First of all, it almost took my life, and then later they almost had to cut my leg off all the way up by my hip. And then they got me in a hyperbaric chamber, which finally alleviated the infection, but they had to cut 4 inches of my femur bone off. So in that leg, I do not have a joint. It's what they call a hip girdle, where they've had a muscle take over for what a joint would do. But it's made me disabled and I have to use a walker to get around. So that's why swimming is so important for me, because I don't walk very well. So
right, so you're limited on what kind of exercise you can do.
Yeah, limited, but swimming has been perfect because there's no weight in the pool, and I can actually swim my laps, and then in the deep end I can actually walk like a normal person because I don't have all that gravity pushing me down. But the disability of that changed my whole life and my whole routine. I used to be a photographer, and I used to go out into the field with a whole bunch of DSLR equipment and photograph wildlife. And I would go for 2 or 3 days and camp overnight on my own. But that's something I can no longer do. So I pretty much sold all my photography equipment, and I just work visually with different other things like web design and graphic arts and things like that. But it's not the same. Getting out in the wildlife, I really miss that. So one of the other things that I've been doing here, my wife went out, and her and I have been collaborating on that, is having a garden. So we got a raised garden in the back of our place here, and everything is really growing like crazy, and it's just coming into its own right now. And we're starting to we picked some really big radishes, and beans are coming, tomatoes are coming. I live in Arizona, so we can have 2 gardens a year. But in a way, it's got me out.
You mean basically you can produce some kind of fruit or vegetation for 2 seasons a year, right?
Yes. Okay. And we can probably grow right now. Too bad I don't have a photograph. I'll take a photograph next time. But they're just raised gardens. There's these black containers with yellow tops that you can buy at any of the big hardware stores, and they come in 2 sizes.
Like Home Depot or Lowe's or something?
Yeah, so that's what I use. They're heavy-duty plastic, and the bottom is black and the top is yellow. But I have a couple of them for the compost pile because compost is like black gold. So over a course of 2 months, all that turns into really good fertilizer.
And
But we had
going
our
back
first garden.
going back to the mental health thing, though, is that gardening can be a great coping skill. For a lot of us, especially those with certain conditions, we care a lot about nature, and was that you, John?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of us with different conditions care a lot about nature, and there may even be people who don't have conditions that care a lot about nature, but still that I know it's common among autistics to have some kind of natural nature-related desire. Like I'm really big about recycling. Others may be really big about planting plants to try to grow the gardening and number of trees and other kinds of fruitation. But that to say, whether it's someone's passion or it's a coping skill, gardening is a great thing to spend your time doing uh, when you have a down moment and you're not sure what to do, and to somehow integrate into your everyday life, such as a certain time in the morning or an evening to water the plants, or to have a certain day on the weekend or every other weekend, some kind of regular day that at least every other week, if not every week, you pick the weeds and make sure you pick off dead parts of the plant, because if certain parts are dying and people don't pick off the dead part, it can kill the full plant. Instead of just losing that one tomato, you lose the whole plant.
Right.
But that could even be a dead leaf, not just the actual fruit.
Yeah, like on tomato plants, as the tomatoes get really tall and they can go up to 3 to 4 feet high, you want to peel off some of the leaves down below. But also looking at, do I need a tomato cage? How do I keep the smaller branches from drooping and when they start having tomatoes, they start getting real heavy. So you got to have support for them. Same thing with the green beans. We tied off, my wife and I were able to go out together and spent about an hour and a half out there tying off the green beans so they would have support. So you're looking at that as support, and then you're talking to your plants, they are living creatures. And so they're coming into their own. And so it really, because we grow green beans, we got radishes that we picked for last night's dinner and put it into our salad because radishes grow really quick and they got really big and fat. They were kind of surprising. So we brought them in the house and put them in our salad. And we were talking about how exciting that was for both of us.
Yeah, that's more food to eat without having to pay for it, right?
Yeah, not only that, but
and they're healthy foods too, huh?
Yeah, we use all our scraps for the last 3 months and let it all rot and put it in the compost pile. So that was exciting too, using scraps from our old food for a good thing, black gold, and then going out once a week and putting water into it and adding more to it, more soil to it, flipping it over and just watching it rot. And then all of a sudden it just disappears and turns black into the soil. And then realizing that has a tremendous amount of nutrients to it. So it's all been a learning experience for me too,
Right.
And then being able to come back and talk about it here with everybody too. Because I can't reach the ground all the way, I use those containers at the raised garden so it brings them up about 1.5 feet off the ground. And that really helps me when I'm on my walker outside to reach them. And there's just sometimes I can't reach up, and so I ask my wife to come out and help me, so we kind of work together, you know. So
Right.
it's a joint collaboration. And we had one of the guys that watches our subdivision, and he was going through the neighborhood, and my wife picked a couple of radishes and handed it to him when he came back, and he was really impressed with the garden, and she gave him some radishes, and he was real happy to take that home. So right now we're waiting and looking for our tomatoes. They're coming close, the big tomatoes, so we can do fried green tomatoes. We love those, almost better than regular tomatoes. So, anyways, this really helps connect with other people. Sometimes in different cities, they have a communal garden that you can join.
Yes.
Out here where we live, um, um, Scottsdale Community College behind it has a big, very big communal garden back there. And I think they have like 100 people participate in it. So they all have a little plot of ground. If you go out there on a weekend, let's say a Saturday and a Sunday, you can talk to a whole lot of people and make a lot of friends with people that are doing the same thing you're doing.
Yeah, and other places
Right.
you can find gardening groups to join are different special or disability homes. Like I know near me is one called Brookwood that's where disabled people can live, and they have different activities. And family members and parents and other people of the general public can join for the planting of different products like fruits and vegetables or trees and so forth. But there's also some of the larger churches are a good place to find groups that do that. In addition to certain nonprofit groups that are trying to, make the world green, save the environment groups. So there's all kinds of different groups from churches to nonprofits that are not religion oriented, but are still environmentally concerned groups, to just disability houses and stuff that all have those different groups that people could attend. That's different types to look up around them. There may be even some on meetup.
You can find some of these groups on social media too. You can have conversations and connect, talk about what you're growing.
Like look up Arizona. Like look up gardening.
Right, and so that really helps a lot too. I know one of the problems is that in Arizona we have a harder problem with tomatoes, growing good tomatoes, because it gets really hot here for part of the year. And when it reaches 95 degrees, the tomato plants don't set. They have a really big plant, but no tomatoes. So how do you overcome that? You learn from other people. So, it's just another way of me trying to cope. It's what's happened to me in my life. We go through all kinds of trials and tribulations in our life, and we're trying to figure out. We want to be happy. The Bible talks about joy, but I guess joy and happiness are the same thing. But we want to be able to live life with joy in our life. and not so worried about all the different things that have happened to us in our lives. How do I do that? How do I overcome some of these things that have happened to me? How do we do that?
Some of the conditions.
Trying to deal with our mental and the conversations that we have with ourselves is a big deal. I think the smarter you are, in many cases, the more disability you're going to have because you have all these great arguments with yourself, right? And when you're trying to deal with that and trying to be happy and to be grateful, because when you're feeling really depressed, it's hard to feel grateful about anything.
Well, it's hard to even realize how blessed you are. Not just to not be thankful of it, but not to even realize it. We are blind to our blessings, and we only see the bad things in our life when we're depressed. Or that can even be similar to PTSD when you're in flight mode or fight mode.
I agree. Sometimes I wish I wasn't as smart as I am. And I'm not saying that so much as egotistical, but I know from some of the writings that I do, and then I think, I wish I wasn't at that point, that I didn't always have my brain on. I wish I could shut it off sometimes, especially if you're trying to get to sleep at night and your brain is going on.
Do you have trouble sleeping at night?
About once a week.
Okay. Have you ever been diagnosed with insomnia?
No, I have a sleep app machine that I use.
Oh, yours is sleep apnea.
Yeah, but every once in a while, if I go to bed too late or sometimes too early, but it happens about once a week. And I hate it. That's like the worst feeling in the whole world that you can't. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that suffer from insomnia.
Oh, I'm one of those. That's why I was wondering. But my
Do you
insomnia
suffer from that?
Yes, but my insomnia is caused by my low sodium condition. So I'm able to sleep more without my trazodone, which is my sleeping pill, when I keep my sodium in balance. But if I just go crazy drinking a bunch of liquid and it gets lowered, the insomnia returns and I have to have my sleeping medicine again to sleep. It's one of the symptoms of hyponatremia or a low sodium condition. Mine is not actually insomnia itself as a condition as it is a symptom of something medical.
Right. Well, listen, I have to go. I have a meeting I got to do if I'm going to get back here for the second one. So I'm going to drop out here, okay?
All right, then.
It was good meeting with everybody today.
Yes, definitely. And we'll see you at 4. Or, 4 o'clock our time. But the next show.
Okay. See you then.
All right, then, Emily, it's just us.
Miss Jennifer. So, mental health awareness.
What can you share about any mental health issues you're familiar with and struggles, or ways that you overcome it, ways that you deal with it? Or maybe that you know of other people.
Because what's kind of helped is either, at least for me, and I'm sure that probably helps other people too, but look, And for some of it, it might be easier said than done at times, but trying to like go out for a walk or maybe talking with somebody or reading or doing something to try to get my mind off of
what we call distraction methods, right?
Yeah. Kind of
So that can even be listening to the radio. That can be listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
That can be listening,
trying to get my mind
YouTube
off of
videos.
Whatever. Yeah, gotta get my mind off of whatever it was that was either bothering me or to like help me feel better or whatever, that kind of thing.
Right. So that can also be spiritual related stuff, like going to church. Because you get the social interaction, you get the comfort that comes with faith and other things like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be about anything, but I think some are better than others. And helping with that
person too, because some things may be better for me, but they're worse for you. And
well, it varies with
exactly
everybody, but but even in general, I think there are some better things to do than others, especially when done in moderation. Because there's some things like with alcohol or whatever.
Alcohol's one you don't want to go to because you can get addicted to it and become an alcoholic, and then you got more problems.
If you go to like the extreme and like totally get addicted and go to kind of the extreme,
but then you have more to deal with because you got the addiction and whatever you used to cope with. So honestly, alcohol is not a good coping skill. It's a way to create another problem.
It's probably not the best one, especially if you're in.
Well, I know therapists and all that say you should not do it at all, as far as in terms of a coping skill, because if you use it for coping, you're more likely to get addicted and become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Versus someone who didn't have mental illnesses that just casually drinks, like say only on the holidays or certain times of the year, or only on Fridays when it's a family party or something, right?
Yeah.
That they're less likely to have the addiction if they don't have a mental health issue than if they do.
Yeah. So I don't see Miss Kitty. I saw her this morning.
Yeah, she's been sick. When I left town for 5 or 6 days over the last week we got off, I came back and I thought she was vomiting. I looked at different reasons for vomiting. One was that I really tuned into is that if the owner is gone, or that there's higher stress on the cat, which me being gone longer than normal could cause as well. That they often end up that they vomit as a result of being stressed. So I thought it was vomit. I texted her vet and a picture of it, and he said it was diarrhea. And then I went in and took her Saturday evening to the animal hospital, like the ER, and they gave me gabapentin to give her, which is an anxiety medicine. And they said they agreed with me among the different possibilities that if it's never happened before, she's got the good health that she does, and here I've never been gone for 5 or 6 days at a time. She's only known me once a month to leave for 2.5 days. Then it could stress her out, made her think that she's abandoned again. Yeah. And so I gave her only 2 doses of the gabapentin, and she's tired, sleeping this morning, but the other days between the first dose on Saturday night and now, she's been playful like usual. Oh, they said don't worry if she gets tired because it can be sedating too.
Yeah. Oh,
But at
that's
least I
good.
know she's not anxious.
Yeah, at least it's, yeah, I'm glad she's doing better than she was.
Yeah, she's headed in the right direction. I can tell you that. Just that, with her being tired enough that, like you said, she's not here in the show today, then that means she's definitely already is in recovery and probably just is now tired from all the stress. You know how a lot of us go through after a high stress day that we're not used to.
We kind of like crash. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's her crash day after the couple doses got her into recovery.
Well, I think I saw her a few minutes this morning, and she was, but yeah.
Oh yeah, she was, because that's why I say napping versus, like, it's not the whole day. But yeah, she was roaming about and she was walking all along my keyboard and stuff, like usual.
And looking
this
at
morning
her,
when we did.
yeah, looking at your cheese and.
Yeah, she was, and I thought about going, hey, look, here's fruit that's good because even the cat wants it, even without
She
milk.
was like sipping, like, but yeah.
But for those of you listeners or viewers who know about this cat, her name is Blondie, and she's the Jaws coffee chat featured cat of most shows, self-invited.
Or the mascot of the shows.
Yeah, maybe she is, right?
So let me see mental health.
What's your reflection?
There's like so much we could talk about in mental health, since it's like a big.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's your reflection on what John was talking about? Like, he was going along the line of gardening being one way to cope, and how much he does, and the great feelings that come out of it. Or like he was even talking about this podcast and us getting together being therapeutic for him.
Yeah, I think it's all good. Gardening is like one of those hobbies that thing to get into for hobby if you're interested in that kind of thing. And helps with like reducing stress and that kind of thing. Yeah, I think I'm sure this is there's a few people, maybe not everybody, but I like to have my then maybe John is sort of like this too, maybe you like having our have like alone time for
Quiet time, I'll call it.
Yeah, whether it's evening or a couple of days or however long, but then at some point, if it gets to be, I don't know, maybe too long or something, without any other real, either seeing anybody or talking to anybody, then there's kind of that. It feels good when you actually get back to talking with somebody, and after maybe not doing so for whatever long, if that makes sense.
And so you think, as a work from home professional, it's probably therapeutic for you because you get to interact, even though you personally are on a lot of different podcasts.
Yeah. Well, even I don't think it would be necessarily just for like work at home people.
Oh no, but they tend to have the biggest hit because they're alone at home versus working in an office. You can walk around and see other people, or some of us that
probably
work remotely, and like I do it from Starbucks or Panera Bread, so I got my social life around me there.
Yeah, well, it probably initially it might be start with the work from home people, but in general, to an extent. I think
Well, it could be also
everybody
people
needs kind of their space and
well, I was going
time
to say,
stuff
probably
too.
is a big struggle for a lot of people disabled because maybe they can't afford to go anywhere, so they need some way that's accessible virtually without having to pay money to be there, right?
Yeah.
So, because a lot of people who are on disability or Social Security are also in poverty, so they probably couldn't afford the, certain stuff we can access.
Yeah.
But if you or anybody interested in being on here,
yeah, we welcome anybody to join us.
Yes, join us by going to calendly.com/JAWS coffee chat and pick which Monday you want to be on our JAWS mental health awareness regularly or just occasionally. And if it's occasionally, just pick the certain days you want and add it to your calendar.
I think this goes for all of our shows, not just the mental health one. So it'd go for like the
well, but we're doing the mental health right now.
Yeah, I know.
We're doing mental health right now.
Yeah, it's mental health right now, but I mean, everybody's welcome to this one or all three. If
well, okay,
anybody
is
so inclined.
It's the same link.
Yeah,
it's the same link for all three shows. You're right.
Yeah, it's anybody's.
And for those of you who don't know, all three shows, there's JAWS Diet, JAWS Mental Health Awareness, and JAWS Christ Talk right now. We may be having a fourth or fifth coming up soon because we got some works going on behind the scene. But right now, those are the three shows, and you can schedule which Monday to be on which podcast or combination, all at calendly.com/JAWS coffee chat.
Yeah, we're always looking for people. Jennifer, did you want to say anything? We're always looking for people to be guests on any of our shows, or to help out with the show in any way outside of being a guest as well.
Or even as a team member, like we could use additional co-hosts to help lead, so we could produce more than I personally, Jennifer Whitaker, am capable of doing. To bring you more content, or also here we on this link, Calendly/Jen's Books and More. We are looking for people who want to be considered for a social media candidate, or for co-hosting, or for where's the other one? Or for joining our team as a virtual assistant. And that one, if you're interested in any of those positions, it'd be calendly.com/JENNS Books and More. Versus if you want to be a guest, it's calendly.com/JAWS Coffee Chat. So go ahead, Emily.
We do have our social media pages as well. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So I encourage everybody to provide some activity on our social media pages by liking, sharing, commenting, and so on. And
they're all at Jaws Coffee Chat. That's at JAWS Coffee Chat. All of the social medias, right, Emily?
yes.
Okay, do we have any announcements before we call the show?
I think I have two at the moment. The first one is a couple days from now is Kurt Ruskoff's birthday. And so we are inviting everybody to join us in celebrating his birthday with him.
And where can they go to join?
There are a couple of one event on LinkedIn and one on Facebook. If you search under Kurt Ruskoff and birthday, it should come up. And with all of different things that we are doing that day. And even if it's just jumping in to say happy birthday and then leaving, it's okay too. But the other thing is on March 17th, 2023, is the International Day of Happiness, put on by the Happy Neighborhood Project, to help celebrate the official International Day of Happiness, which is on March 20th. And this one on the 17th is going to last from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific, or noon to 6 p.m. Eastern, with speakers and prizes and speed networking. Which, with that, we are trying to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the most number of people speed networking at a time, which it is right now at 1,068. That was set in 2014 by Belgium. And we encourage everybody to get their ticket ASAP, since it is $20 right now, and starting in January it will go up. So you can go to the link that's posted at the bottom, hmpabc.com/IDH, and for more information and to register for that event. Any other announcements from you, Jennifer? Any other comments?
Nope. I announced about our two positions and a place for listeners to join if they want to be on here. Listeners, if you want to learn more about us, you can go to Jen's Books and More and check it out. It's our website, JENNS, booksandmore.com. You can go there to find our podcasts and other things we do, services and products we offer.
And I want to thank Jennifer, John, Kurt, who were on here, and whoever was tuning in. I'd like to give a special thanks to Marcus Hart of Transform You Media, Jace Doyen of the Disability Channel, and to Zach Clayton of the PAC Channel for allowing us to have these shows on their platform. We are here every Monday, the same time, same place. for each of our shows, and for anybody who's interested in joining us every week. So I guess we look forward to, well, and just a reminder about going to our social media pages or wherever you found us, and look forward to seeing everybody next week. So I hope you have a productive week. So till next time, stay happy.